Reverse 1999 is the game we get when we combine Slay the Spire with gacha mechanics and Harry Potter magic to craft a world where a clandestine church and magical terrorists defy the laws of nature by making the rain flow upwards, which consequentially cause time to reverse itself, erase our future and everyone who isn't as magically gifted as Big Titty Goth Mommy. Personally, Reverse 1999 isn't exactly my favorite position. I much prefer Reverse Cowgirl, but I've learned to enjoy both. In this LSD experience disguised as a game, we use turn-based card combat to fight knights, ghosts, literal trash, eldritch horrors, and worst of all, feral children from the streets of Chicago. I did not expect to see Pickles from the kid-friendly TV series Mr. Pickles cosplaying as King Henry II, use astrology to conquer giant bugs, but now that I've seen such creative blasphemy, no amount of recreational drug use can compete with this game.
I have some drugs for humans. Do you want to try?
No, don't do it!
Stimulate your senses.
This game was recommended to me by viewers, and now I'm back to remind you that your words have consequences. The plot. Reverse 1999 is a story-driven game which takes place in our world and shares our history. Therefore, it is crucial you understand history and the plot before going forward. In this Western Harry Potter fanfic exists two types of living beings, normies and arcanists. Arcanists are magically gifted individuals that have coexisted with normies since the beginning of time, capable of casting all sorts of magic by using the power of MTG cards on their combat main phase. One day, Arcanists looked into the future and saw the downfall of mankind after the infamous gorilla incident at the Cincinnati Zoo. This event caused a divergence point in our timeline which branched off into an alternate dark dystopian timeline, seeing our horrible future now paved with war, a housing crisis, and the Rona. Arcanists became conflicted and split into two different ideological groups. The theological branch known as the St. Pavlov Foundation, and the anti-human extremist branch known as the Manus Vindictae. In 1999, one faction rejected the future, went outside to perform a rain dance. The ensuing rain broke physics and deleted the future. Now, time flows backwards, and our player character, Verton, doesn't like the fact she'll never get to watch The Sopranos. So, adorned with thick-ass plot armor to withstand the storms, Verton heads out on the bootleg Playmobil world map of the 1920s. Accompanying Verton is our friend Bootleg Steve Jobs, in a character whose voice I can't stand amongst the many deranged individuals we will meet along the way. Okay, listen, maybe my lore interpretation is not 100% accurate, but what I'm trying to say is, we never should have shot that damn gorilla. Gameplay. This game is a very relaxed, turn-based card game. You assemble your deck of cards by assembling a team of 4 Arcanists, each of which have different roles. Come with different cards, backstories, and appearances. Sometimes you add psychic feral French children to your team. Sometimes you choose 3 televisions pretending to be a girl as your waifu. Sometimes you choose a scarecrow with rabies over the pretty ladies. And sometimes you choose to add an asshead poet on your team. Listen, his name is Nick Bottom. Shakespeare wrote this character. He knew what he was doing. Each of the characters you select are bound to different magic classes. Each of these classes are more effective against one another, like a slightly more complex game of rock, paper, scissors, duct-taped, with an additional 2 magic schools eating glue in their own corner, because those wankers only want to play with themselves. I don't know why they chose this over a magical symbol such as a pentagram, but the metalhead inside of me is disappointed by this choice. Gear your friends and become a terrible social influence by inserting horrible ideas into their minds. Assemble up to 4 of your Arcanist friends and move out from Verton's suitcase to explore and fight across the LSD landscape of the 1920s. Combat in this game is turn-based and thinking-oriented. But don't worry, if your IQ is above room temperature, you'll do just fine. Just don't cast all of your cards on your turn as if you're trying to play your entire Yu-Gi-Oh deck on turn 1. Because in this game, we use action points to move our cards around our hand to combine our cards and obtain different effects. Want to attack the enemy using Soneto's cards? Why not? Cast it for 1 action point. Or, for 1 action point, you can move that same card to combine it, transforming it into a debuff which disarms your enemy. You're not mindlessly casting your best cards when you play this game. You're playing your cards while also thinking of how you're going to get that perfect Tetris lineup to upgrade your cards before casting them. This game has several different characters you can unlock and choose from while building your perfect team, and meta teams have no importance, so turn off your competitive alpha male mindset and just enjoy life. We all can tell why you're behaving like this anyways. Don't hide it, just relax and let go, you'll be happier. Puzzles. This game occasionally has puzzles scattered across the Playmobil world map. My first time with one of those, I was not expecting the game actually wanted me to pay attention to minor lore details. One day, I found myself having to enter an answer at a door. Being the first or second puzzle, I didn't know the answer. And I thought, okay, whatever, I'll just brute force my way through. One of those puzzles asked me, how many older sisters does a girl named Schneider have? So I entered numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Eventually, I stopped entering numbers, because who the fuck has 6 older sisters? This must be a trick question, but no, I kept going and discovered that Schneider has 12 older sisters. Who the fuck has this many sisters? Then I remembered, this world is inspired by real-life history. So it got me thinking. The average US family size back in 1929 was 4.34. Some poor kids got sliced in half in the coal mines, I guess, but you know what event was happening during 1929? The Great Depression. Not exactly the most financially secure time to raise 12 children. And do you know what real-life event happened between 1914 and 1918? That's right, European immigration. How does a poor Italian widow earn her bread and pasta working on the crime-ridden streets, paving the broken Western economy? Then it hit me. Schneider has 12 sisters because her family's broke and her mom's a hoe. Her mother's relationship with hardwood sausages is more than likely the reason she's named this way. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. This game also has an autoplay feature for people who, just like me, want to turn their life into a gambling hell and autoplay gacha games on each of their monitors. Clearly, I have a problem. But please, you don't need to remind me I can't use a fourth monitor because I've run out of HDMI ports. That's beside the point. Recruit banners work similarly to other gacha games, and this time around, you'll be spinning the literal RNG wheel like a gambling addict, trying to obtain those characters you're obsessing over. The game is pretty generous when it comes to handing out clear drops. That's the currency you'll use to pull on banners. During your campaign playthrough, you'll receive plenty of clear drops to spend. And just like Nikkei, my favorite gacha, you will only receive characters when you pull on banners in this game. Which is great, because I don't enjoy the frustrating feeling I get in my heart when I'm blessed with the joy of obtaining random crap materials or random crap weapons I will never use. Suck it, Genshin, we don't do this here. I really hope losing 3 million followers on your anniversary woke you up. I am now never getting sponsored. Oh yeah, and this game has no co-op, PvP, or leaderboards. So I don't know why they chose to be greedy and mimic Gangrene Impact's banner system, but at least it's slightly better here. But upon realizing the game has essentially no reason for meta teams, I breathe a sigh of relief, because playing this game won't make my anorexic bank account any thinner. Speaking of financial irresponsibility, this game has a surprisingly decent shop for once. Things are not terribly overpriced, and the deals are more reasonable than whatever garbage League of Losers and Nubisoft shovels out. And because there's no co-op, PvP, or leaderboards, I'm not even sure if I could say the single-player game is pay to win. Listen, I don't think I've ever seen a skin sell for $1 and offer a free pull. There's some decent value in here. The shop is more of a pay-for-convenience or glorified dress-up Barbie clothes shop than anything else, which I don't care about. The campaign! I won't spoil the story further, but essentially, every chapter is a linear experience which plays in sequential level order. You look around the bootleg Playmobil toy box for things you can interact with. Sometimes you fight against cat oranges on a kid's drawing, or go through boss fights with Magic the Gathering Eldrazi's. At times, you watch cutscenes or look around the toy box solving maze puzzles. Sometimes you get shouted at. It's a very story-driven game with interesting landscapes, enemies, and beautiful art. I recommend you experience it for yourself. Some weeb purists may complain and throw a tantrum upon seeing that I'm not playing the story in their favorite Eastern language they've developed an unhealthy obsession with. I am in fact playing in dreaded vile English. because this is one of those games that has nearly all of its characters speaking a different language and speaking with different accents, meaning you'll be unable to understand nuances if you don't actually speak the language you've selected. I've selected English, yet I've heard spoken, rabid and feral French, Japanese accents, Italian accents, and even had to read noodles on my screen. I've tried to learn reading and writing in noodles before, but despite my best efforts, some things in life are never meant to be. So please, just play in your spoken language if you want the best experience. Also, this game's original language was never Japanese to begin with because this game is made in China, the Wilds. Eventually, once you've progressed enough through the campaign, you'll unlock the Wilds, your very own Animal Crossing island which you can terraform, populate, and build however you want. My island looks like garbage, but over time, yours could look like this. I recommend you don't show this to Nintendo, or Miyamoto might become jealous and issue a formal complaint. Within the Wilds, there are a few things we can do other than decorating our Barbie toy playset. We can upgrade our Dust Bell Tower and Sharpodonty Market to acquire more passive income and further upgrade our characters. Or toss everything into the wishing well to acquire crafting materials in the same manner. I toss all of my dirty dishes in the sink and forget about them. A never-ending story and recurring problem in my life. Events. This game also has events, which are unsurprisingly narrative-focused. Every new event brings with it a new cast of main characters, pretty animations, a new campaign map with different game modes to experience, and a shop to acquire gear, upgrades, or new tiles to upgrade and decorate your Animal Crossing island. Events feel like an extension of the main story, so I really recommend you take the time to experience and play them if you enjoy what the story has to offer. In conclusion, Reverse 1999 is a free-to-play friendly RPG card game, and overall, it's a very laid-back game. It's a perfect gacha game for people with limited time to play games. I enjoyed playing it, and my only real complaint is, I wish it had more content. Co-op and PvP seem like the perfect game modes to add to this game in the future, but only time will tell where Bluepock goes with this game. If you're interested, you can download it on your phone or your PC. I rate this game a high score of 5 depressing oranges out of 5 Mr. Apples, and recommend you try it if you enjoy turn-based RPG games such as good old Final Fantasy VI or card games like Slay the Spire. This has been the Chadventurer. As always, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more garbage. You're all wonderful, and I'll be lurking in the comments. Cheers, and have a good one.